today I am intending on focusing on shoulders. And I had this ridiculous idea for a short that I wanted to, from the top of a bar, I wanted to fall past it and catch the bar from behind my body. But it is honestly terrifying. So I did not end up doing that in a video. But I have the range of motion for it. Just a little sketchy with how fast you get into that range of motion. But I need to warm up my shoulders a little bit, so I'm just going to crank out some pull-ups real quick. I'm just going to do one set, maybe 10 or so, I don't know. 2.5, that's what we'll aim for. That way it's a high number, right? You know what, that's fine. 8's fine. That feels really good. Oh no, a pole. Where did this come from? No, the joke is we already had this pole, obviously. All right, I am going to go into the field just because I like the field. And I'm going to get, you know what? I like this bench. I'm going to focus on my rotation of my shoulder for a little bit here. The idea here is just to get the external and the internal rotation of the shoulders going here. So this is an external rotation stretch right now. I'm just gonna hold this for a little bit. The goal here is to have the end of this pole pull my hand back so that it stretches the inside of my shoulder, which would be known as the rotator cuff, obviously. But did you know the rotator cuff isn't actually really a cuff? It's actually 4 separate little muscles. And the reason why it's not a cuff is because it's kind of like your bicep where it attaches somewhere and then it inserts somewhere. It's the same thing with your shoulder. They're 4 little muscles. They start from usually your shoulder blade and they attach to different parts of the shoulder. So here we go. This is an internal stretch. I can actually use the table a little bit to assist. I can go super far if my arm is straight like this. But with the help of this, I'm actually internally rotating the shoulder here. This is a pretty big stretch for me, actually. I don't even really need the pole for this. I can just hold this right here, actually. Oh man, internal rotation has always been a weak point in my shoulders, so I try to put a little bit of extra focus on it when I can. Oh man, the good thing with these external and internal rotation stretches is that you get a lot of rest, because if you only have one stick like me, you have to stretch your one side, and then you have to stretch the other side, and then you have to go the opposite way, stretching the one side, and then the opposite way, stretching the other side. So your muscles get quite a bit of rest in between every time you hold a stretch. This is pretty intense, but it's not painful. It's just very intense. If you ever feel pain in a stretch, maybe don't do that. Oh, all right, there we go. Yeah, I definitely don't need the pole for that internal stretch here. I can't tell which side is tighter. Usually one side is tighter than the other, and I can't really tell which side is tighter, but I know one of my shoulders here is definitely tighter than the other. Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna go back to the first side here, back to that external rotation. I'm gonna try and go just a little bit deeper, only slightly. You know, in everyday life, I don't think I ever really use these extreme external or internal rotations. So they're only really useful for flexibility related skills. Oh, but they are kind of fun to show off when when you can twist your shoulder in funky ways. Forgot I don't need to pull. This is surprisingly a difficult stretch for me, holding this right here. It seems so simple. I mean, it's obviously in a funky angle. But this is actually a good stretch. This kind of reminds me of when your older brother grabs your hand and he jams it behind your back. I swear I don't have trauma. Oh boy, okay, cool. Back to the other side. External rotation. We're gonna go a little bit further than we did the first time. Oh, I think it is safe to say that my left shoulder is definitely tighter. Ooh, it's cramping a little. Yeah, it can't rotate nearly as far. Oh, not without cramping. So the thing is with this stretch here is the muscles that rotate your arm backward like that are not the ones that are being stretched. They're actually being shortened. And when a muscle is shortened further than it normally is, it tends to cramp, especially when you activate it. There we go, that's a good stretch. A couple more seconds or so. Oh, that's good. All right, internal stretch here. By the way, these stretches here, I would not do during a normal shoulder workout. Not because it's gonna make you weaker, but because it's gonna make you more flexible. And that extra range of motion that you gain, if you start using it with a bunch of weight for a shoulder workout, you could potentially injure yourself, and I don't think it's worth injuring yourself. Oh, so if you're gonna do these external and internal rotations for your shoulder, I'd recommend doing them either after a shoulder workout or do them on a completely separate day. All right, cool. So that's the internal and external rotation. Now, the biggest two components of the chest that people don't really realize, I said chest, I meant shoulders. But anyway, number one is your chest, because it's this giant muscle here and it gets tight, but it connects into your arm right here, which makes it a part of your shoulder and how your shoulder moves. So your chest is tight, your shoulders are tight. Now the lats, same thing here. You see bodybuilders doing their like lat spreads here. All that muscle right there attaches into your arm as well. And if your lats are tight, again, your shoulders are tight. So I'm gonna start with my lats. And you know what? I'm just gonna do a lat stretch, just a normal one. There's a fire pit in the way. Oh, I'm gonna prop my elbows here, fists together, and I'm gonna sink my head through. There we go. And I'm actually gonna get my triceps involved by bringing my hands a little bit closer to the back of my head. So now my triceps and my lats are both stretching. Oh boy. This is really tight. I'm gonna do about 10 more seconds. All right, I'm gonna come out of that. Oh, I'm gonna superset that with a chest stretch. Normally I would use a door frame. So I'd put my hands on either side of a door frame and I would just step through the door frame and it would cause my chest to stretch. But I don't have a door frame and those pull-up bar poles are a little further apart. So I'm just gonna use this pole right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab it wherever, I'll start wide, and all I'm gonna do is push it back and hold that as a stretch. And this is just a chest stretch here. But I do feel my bicep stretching a little bit, but it's not necessarily the bicep muscle. It's actually more the nerve in there. I can feel the nerve having a little bit of tension on it, so it feels a little bit tingly in my wrists and in my fingertips. 10 more seconds. Oh, and we'll come on out of that stretch. Oh, that already feels really good. My shoulders feel super, super loose after all this, but we're trying to get more flexible, not maintain my flexibility. So we're gonna do multiple sets, not just one set. So back to that lat stretch. All right, elbows on, hands together, head through, bringing the hands a little bit closer to the back of my head. Lats and triceps are stretching for me. This definitely feels much deeper than I was at the first time. Probably because my chest got a little bit looser from that stretch. And the chest affects this stretch a little bit too. 10 more seconds. Oh man, that is intense. I'm gonna go back to that same chest stretch that I did earlier. But this time, instead of holding all the way out at the end, I'm gonna come in a little bit on both sides. And hopefully that's not too intense, but we'll find out real quick here. Oh, that's intense. I'm gonna hold it though. Oh, I'm halfway through. Oh, it's so intense. 10 more seconds. Oh my goodness. Oh. Just to talk you through what happened on that, so I grabbed it and I went back, and it definitely felt like a stretch I could handle. It wasn't painful. But man, the tension on the nerve, the tingles, I feel when you pull back over there's a nerve that obviously goes through your bicep, your elbow, and all the way down to your fingers. But when you put the bicep under stretch and like this, and you extend your wrist like that, it's actually pulling the nerves, and when you do that, you can actually feel a little bit of it like a tingle. It's your nerves. When I was in that stretch, my wrists were flexed and they were pulled all the way back. So there was tension on the nerves there. And my biceps were under stretch and my chest were under a stretch. And it's usually a lot easier to tolerate a stretch when you're only stretching one muscle at a time. But I was stretching, my chest, my biceps, and I was putting tension on the nerves. So it was very, very difficult to hold, which is totally fine. That's okay. I'm gonna do another set of each. All right, I'm gonna go back to that lat stretch. This is probably gonna be the last set for each of these stretches here. And then we'll go back over to the pull-up bar for some shenanigans. All right, here we go. Ten more seconds. Oh, I'm gonna come on out of that stretch. Oh, my shoulders haven't felt this loose in a very long time. And it's because I haven't actually trained shoulders in a very long time. Now for this stretch, the chest stretch. I'm not going to make it more intense. I think the stretch was plenty intense enough. So I'm going to try and get the same spot. And also, I'm using a hook grip for this, which is kind of funny because that's a deadlift grip. So instead of just holding the bar like this or holding the bar like this, I'm putting my thumb over it and I'm grabbing my thumb. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to push your thumb onto the bar, and you have a lot more friction there. And even though this is a smaller bar, when you try to pull the bar out of my grip, it just doesn't budge at all. And the more you pull, the tighter my thumb gets squeezed, which means the less likely I'm going to lose my grip here. At least that's the way it feels to me. All right, here we go. Got my hook grip. Here we go. Oh, yep, there's that familiar stretch. Ten more seconds. Oh boy. That felt... There's a saw going on back there. That's funny. That felt a lot... way less... There it is. Way less intense than the first time I did it. And I think that's just because my nervous system relaxed. So that tension on the nerve didn't even feel at that time. It was just mainly my chest was stretching. So let's go back to the pull-up bar. And we're going to do some skin the cats. So there's a couple different grips that we can do with a skin the cat. I'm just going to leave that there. And typically what I do is I typically hold it like this with my thumbs pointing inward. And that's because when I do my flying back catch, what I do is I actually catch it. Basketball. Yeah. Basically what I do is I catch it from... Here, I'll just show you. So back up a little bit just so I don't hit you. And I'm going to jump and catch it. So when I jump and catch the bar from behind my body, my thumbs right here are pointing inward. So when I do my skin the cat, typically I point my thumbs inward like that. But Hilderson Joaquim, I don't even know if that's how I pronounce that correctly, but anyway, he's on Instagram. He told me to try it with my thumbs out, so using an underhand grip. And I don't really know how that feels, so I'm actually going to try that. I've done it before, but it's been a very long time. All right, let's see how it feels. All I'm going to do is lift up, go through, and sink down. I can reach the ground. Oh, for me, that puts a huge stretch on my biceps, more so than the other grip does. Interesting. I'm going to try my normal grip real quick, and then I'll see how it feels, because maybe my biceps are just cooked, but we'll see. So I'm going through and going down. Yeah, that's interesting how that works, but that makes sense because when you're grabbing with your thumbs out, what's happening is that's called supination. But if you were to feel your arm and you were to lift it up right here, you could see you could feel your bicep flexing a little bit with your palm down. But now just squeeze your bicep, palm up. You're gonna feel your bicep actually flex even further. So you can, if I pull my shirt in, you'll actually see my bicep move a little when I supinate. And that's because supination is a function of the bicep. So flexing your bicep automatically makes your hand want to supinate. So that makes sense. If you grab a supinated grip, it's a deeper bicep stretch. So I'm gonna do I want to do reps? I think I just want to hold it. I want to sink into that position a little deeper. I'm gonna go wider than I normally would though, because this is a newer variation for me. Here we go. Oh, it's so intense. I'm assisting myself by putting my toes on the ground. Oh my goodness. That's a huge bicep stretch for me. That's crazy how literally just that, so instead of holding like this, holding like that completely changes the way your bicep is stretched. That's crazy. So I guess it's more of a brachialis stretch, which is the outer muscle right there when you hold it like that. Now I'm gonna do another set, but I'm gonna do it my way. And I'll grab maybe slightly narrower, see how that feels. There we go. Yeah, see this I can hold for a little bit longer. Assisting myself with my feet. And I'm coming out of it. Man, it's so crazy that, I don't know if you saw the video, but on my other channel, I put an extra 100 pounds on my body and I was still able to jump and catch the bar from behind me. But even so, just holding that position, that bottom skin the cat position, is still very, very intense for me. So I'm really strong in that position, but it feels so intense no matter the weight. And it feels the same. It honestly feels a little bit better when I have extra weight because it pulls me into the stretch a little bit deeper. So that's an interesting side effect there. All right, I'm gonna do maybe just a couple reps in and out. A little bit narrower grip. Here we go. All the way down. And hold. Oh, that's intense. So to give you an idea of what I'm feeling there, when I'm in the bottom position, it's mainly a huge bicep stretch, but not really a bicep stretch up here, mostly towards the elbow. And I can't really see myself, but I'm suspicious that my elbows are hyperextending quite a bit, which is fine. My elbows are capable of that for whatever reason. Genetically, my elbows are hyperextended. But that does mean that I get a deeper stretch over here. So I can already tell in 2 or 3 days from now, right here is gonna be crazy sore for me. But I'm gonna do another set of skin the cats, but I'm gonna try it with the Hilderson grip, and we'll see if I can even do it at all, especially after doing that other set. All right. I can already tell this feels much more intense. Oh, that's so much harder. I'm gonna hold it already, that's all I got. Oh, yep, that's it. My biceps are cooked. That's crazy. You know, it's funny, you don't really think about getting a pump when you stretch, but man, my biceps are quite literally pumped right now. That's wild. Well, I might as well. So I did my chest, I did my lats, I did internal rotation, I did external rotation, I did skin the cat. I'm gonna, you know, to end off the video, I think we're gonna try some dislocations. Now, mind you, it's not actual dislocations. Come on over this way. But it looks like a dislocation. And so that's why it's called a dislocation. But I'm gonna do it sitting on my bench again. You know, I just can't sit on a bench normally. I don't have it in me. But the shoulder dislocation, I think some people call it in around the world, but it's quite literally just this one right here. I wanna see how that feels. So it's kind of like a skin the cat. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit closer. I'm gonna see how close my hands can get. Some people can get really freaky close, but surprisingly, even with how good I am at skin the cat, I can't get as close as other people can get. All right, here we go. I gotta shut my yapping. This one's gonna be a little bit harder. That was much more intense. I'm gonna go a little bit closer. I might not be able to do this close, even though it's slightly outside of shoulder width. I haven't trained this skill in forever. It's funny, this skill is more so a function of chest tightness and lat tightness. If your lats in your chest are super loose, you're pretty good at this stretch here. Here we go. Oh man, yeah, I cannot go any closer than that. So this is where I'm at. This is width-wise. And I can use this to track for a future video. But it looks like I am just outside of shoulder width, because shoulder width would be around right there. I'm not there yet. I should get there though pretty soon. If I focus on that, that would be really cool, because then I can do the skin the cats, and instead of just pausing in that deep position, I'll be able to dislocate my shoulders and go into a full, you know, upright hold, even with my arms behind my back. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it for the shoulders. I don't have anything else. I could work on my spine a little bit, but honestly, don't really feel like it. So that's it for this video. Stay flexy.